if you could spend more time doing one thing in your job, what would it be?
Talking to farmers more. There's a lot of time that we spend on administrative stuff, day-to-day stuff. It's emails, it's endless meetings, and all of that is good. That's why we exist. But being able to communicate more with farmers on a regular basis is what I would love to spend more time doing.
Sound
good. Less email, more vision and strategy. That's what it would be for me. And I'm moving as I get in the job longer and longer. It's moving that, well, not less email, but it's moving toward the vision and strategy area, and that's the place. That's my sweet spot. I love that.
So if you could invent one thing to help you do your job better, what would it be?
Time
machine?
Bot to take care of my email intelligently and in a good communicative fashion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything, if you could invent one thing?
Oh, if we could reduce email, that would be great.
Okay. So you mentioned the Rolling Stones. What a magazine that you enjoy the most?
Oh, a magazine that I enjoy the most would be Outside magazine. So
Okay.
I enjoy spending a little bit of time in the woods, and that would be my magazine of choice.
Oh, I'm a nerd. I like Harvard Business Review. I read it cover to cover every time, as people who follow me on Twitter know, because I'm always posting articles.
So you maybe kind of alluded to it. So your favorite hobby? What do you enjoy doing the most when you're not centered and focused on soybean issues? What's something you enjoy doing?
Well, I'm a self-admitted workaholic, and everybody that knows me knows that, but like Ryan, I love to hike. When I lived in Colorado, I did a lot of hiking, and I'm trying to do hiking here, too. If I could just manage the ticks and the heat, I think I would be even more into hiking in Missouri.
Hobbies?
Yeah, I enjoy spending time with my family. I have 2 children who are 8 and 11, and my wife and I enjoy being outside. If there was one specific activity in the summer that I would enjoy doing, it'd be to jump on the bike and go for a spin. So Ragbri for those fans. I have not done that yet. It's on my list.
So most meaningful piece of advice that a farmer has given you in your role as a CEO?
Oh, wow. I remember this piece of advice, and that is, whatever else happens, whatever other pressures you are under, you have to look yourself in the mirror every morning. Never make a decision that would endanger your integrity.
That's good. Patience. That is a challenge for me personally, is to have patience, but you have to have patience when you're working in policy.
What is your a mentor, someone who has influenced you, who stands out?
Sure. At one of my previous jobs, I worked with a gentleman that was a boss, but he was a coach. And I'm a big believer in a team philosophy. Are we all on the same team? And so there's a gentleman that was a great mentor, and he was a great coach, and it was both personal and professional.
Yeah, I had a former board member when I was at Beef, who has passed away now, that was not only a colonel in the Army, but a professor of statistics at University of Tulsa and a board member of mine. He was an amazing thinker. I miss him every day. I talk to him regularly. He was a great mentor for me.
Soybean yields, do a little prediction here. So vision out maybe a year from now, will we have a soybean supply that is bigger or less than around the 1 billion that we have right now?
As somebody that works in politics, I need to ask you to clarify. Are we talking just Iowa? Are we talking nationally? Are we talking carry-out or actual production?
National carry-out.
Well, I think that we are going to see
stammering, stumbling.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? How do I answer this both directions? No, I think at the end of this year we're going to see a really high carry-out. As we roll into the next year, we're going to eat away at that.
Yeah, we've been trying to project revenue for the next 3 years at the checkoff, and yield is part of revenue predictions. And we're just trying to hedge our predictions and also make sure we have enough in reserves to make it through, because I think nobody's seen conditions like this. I mean, even our experts say, I don't know. So that's what I'm going to say. I don't know. Let Ryan answer.
Online resource, where an online resource that you would recommend to farmers. And of course, we already know that we're recommending UnitedSoybean.org and we're recommending soygrowers.com, but another online resource that you'd recommend.
I go to Congress. There's congressional websites. There's a number of them. So both your representatives' website, I am always looking at that to see what is the member actually putting out, And then what are the pieces of legislation that are out there? What is the text of those bills?
So I think it's really important that farmers get out of their comfort zone and look at the general environment that's surrounding them as far as society. So there's one thing I get in my inbox every morning. It's called the Skim. And it puts all the news in perspective and bullet points, and I read that every morning, and it really helps me think outside my own sphere.
When somebody catches you and they don't know what the ASA does, what is your elevator speech?
Oh, great question. We're a policy organization for soybean farmers across the country. And that has been a lot easier to answer over the last few months because everybody has heard about soybeans in the news.
Yeah, marketing and promotion, and I always say it's driven by soybean farmers and paid for by soybean farmers.
Topic that hasn't really gotten the traction that perhaps it should have, that is going to have real implications long-term on the soybean industry.
I think at some point soybean farmers are really going to have to think about how much they produce impacts their ability to be profitable. And I think that's a very strong tension because of how we get paid currently. But I will say that at some point in time, we're going to have to think about, gosh, we make a lot of soybeans. What is the wise way to kind of have more control over our future and to think about the longer term of all the yield and all the...
And other commodity groups have been having those tough conversations, and we've evolved a lot. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when how are we going to grow enough soybeans?
Right.
So this has changed. How would you answer that?
I think there have been billions of dollars that have been put into venture capital or from venture capital into ag startups the last couple of years. I think we are going to see something disruptive in the next 5 years in agriculture, and I don't know if that will be a production system. I don't know if it's going to be alternative protein sources. I don't know what that's going to look like, but there's a lot of money that's gone into R&D within agriculture specifically. I think we should be looking for a disruption.
So you serve a national role, so I need to close with this question. Fill in the blank. When I think of Iowa, I think of...
Soybeans, of course, and pigs. Soybeans and pigs, that's what I think of. And the beautiful green rolling hills.
Yeah, soybeans. Absolutely.
This
is. I mean, U.S. agriculture is incredible, but when you drive through the Midwest, this is the heart of it, right here, and it's a lot of fun to see.
The closing comment, the thing you want soybean farmers to remember from this conversation, first from the ASA standpoint.
Don't be afraid to call your member of Congress. Literally pick up the phone, call their office. Don't be afraid to invite them to your farm. Engage, create a relationship. Members of Congress see thousands of lobbyists. They don't see thousands of farmers. Create that relationship.
And from the USB.
Remember that all the cash in the system comes from the consumer side, so open up your minds and think about where your product goes and who you depend on for your livelihood every day.
And with that, we'll need to leave our conversation there. Thanks to our panelists, Polly Rulin and Ryan Finley, and to the Machine Shed Restaurant in Urbandale for hosting this timely and informative conversation. In our August edition of The State of Soy, we'll dive into water quality, soil health, and the latest innovations helping farmers improve the ROI of every acre farmed. What techniques are most proven, and which over the next 2 to 3 years hold the most promise. Until then, the very best to you from the Iowa Soybean Association. Now go make it a great day.